For everyone who thought Sanrio was some wholesome company, stay tuned as I tell you about Unico and the Island of Magic, which is quite possibly the most insane thing I've ever watched. Hey guys, it's McGann, and this is The Fangirl, where I talk about whatever I want, unless you guys insist on something in particular. And I always get comments about covering more anime, so wish granted. Now, I grew up watching The Last Unicorn and Unico, literally rented them every single week from age 3 until like, I don't know, age 8. The point is, I was all about that Unico life. However, I only recently found out that Unico has a sequel movie called Unico in the Island of Magic. And it wasn't until I was today years old that I found out that Sanrio actually made those movies. Yeah, Sanrio, the Hello Kitty, My Melody, Kurumi, super cutesy stationery company, that one. The founder of Sanrio is actually super competitive, so for a long time he was all like, anything Disney can do, I can do better. And that's why there's a Sanrio theme park, and they made a bunch of movies and shows and plushies out the wazoo. And don't get me wrong, it's not that Unico doesn't fall in with the super cutesy crowd, because he's an adorable little unicorn baby with an eerily human-like face. You see him, you hear him, you want to squeeze him. Even the baby Sphinx in the first movie is so stinking adorable. But for some reason, the writer's room got this sequel and went, hey, do you know what kids who are into floofy little animals would love? Nightmares. Seriously, I know there are a lot of crazy anime movies out there, but they're usually intended for a more mature audience. Every fiber of Unico, from the character design to the simplistic drawings to the who cares dialogue, says this movie was targeted at little kids. So if you watched my first video covering the fantastic adventures of Unico, you know it's a sweetheart movie about a baby unicorn who's on the run from the gods, like you do. So the North Wind is moving Unico all over the place trying to hide him, and that little baby will make friends with a bee. He don't care. I'm not recapping that whole video. The takeaway here is that the fantastic adventures of Unico is like diabetes on the screen. It's all sugar. Now, the second Unico, Unico in the Island of Magic, starts up when the North Wind drops off Unico in a new location with a wiped memory. And it takes him all of 15 seconds to start making friends with the locals when, all of a sudden, this weird magician's assistant guy starts coming in and giving off creeper vibes. Well, not only is he up to no good, but his assistant, Toby, is going around turning people into either living toys or what they called living puppets, which are basically these Minecraft golem looking things. Alright, that's unsettling, but maybe the story lightens up. Nope, nope, nope. These golems then get up, walk to a place called the Island of Nightmares, very aptly named, and are helplessly commanded to stack themselves up to make the magician's palace larger. It's like the Shield of Morty's. So everywhere you look, here are the faces of creepers staring at you. People are riding on them like surfboards, and it's just a WTF plot device. Nobody needed this. Nobody asked for this. And just when you think it can't get any weirder, the villainous magician, Karuku, sounds like a high-pitched hymn from Powerpuff Girls. So after a young girl named Sherry loses her family for the sake of building a bigger castle, Sherry and Unico go searching for answers on how to fight against Karuku's magic. First, they walk to Egypt to see the Sphinx. I'm not sure where they started from geographically, but that girl is blonde, so I assume they walked a pretty long way. But the Sphinx isn't home, so they go to find the flipping Trojan horse at the end of the world. Now, what is at the end of the world, you may ask? Think of the Island of Misfit Toys, except it's all broken junk that the ocean washed up into one place. And now, all of these broken items, which Sherry makes sure to mention they could have been mended and reused, are sentient and angry, but immobile, so they're stuck in a prison. And yes, the real Trojan horse is there too, except when they clean him up, it turns out that he was just a giant rocking horse. Well, no wonder the people of Troy were so eager to take the Trojan horse inside their gates. It was supposed to be great fun, but oh my gosh, why didn't they just call this horse anything else if they were going to get this kooky dukes with history. Anyways, the Trojan horse informs Sherry and Unico that Karuku used to be a marionette, but he was owned by a pair of meanies who tangled up his cords and then tossed him out. So he floated in the ocean for decades, then conveniently washed up to the one spot at the end of the world where a beam of sunlight would shine through for a few minutes every day. And then, hundreds of years later, Karuku stood up with a rage and just walked away. Apparently with magic powers. Ta-da! That's all the explanation we get, folks. And personally, I'd be fine with that if any of the other items at the end of the world could move around too. But they're just self-aware and in agony, but forever frozen. Because that's what I want to be thinking about when I have to throw away a broken chair. Here I thought it was Toy Story screwing up kids and making us all into hoarders. Now I do want you to watch this for yourself, so I won't give away every little bit of the film, but I have to say it's startling to watch Unico, sweet, happy little Unico, drill through a magician puppet person in a proper act of violence. But since that doesn't kill Karuku, Unico starts apologizing and offering to be his best friend. And for some reason, that is what actually kills Karuku. The bit where someone else cares about him. What? And he doesn't just die off like a champ. Oh no, we've got to see his head and eyes deform all over the place for what feels like a solid 5 minutes while he withers and screams in agony about how Unico is offing him. What is reality here? And then everyone turns back to normal after Karuku's death. The North Wind has to snatch up Unico and flee with him again because that boy won't just keep a low profile to literally save his own life. And Karuku's remains revert back to the little marionette, which Sherry finds and presses to her face, implying she's gonna take it home and love it. What? Seriously, it's like, here is this unexplainable demon puppet thing that was just turning us all into golems to live an eternity as a column in his house, and Sherry's just like, I think we should take care of him. Oh, I get they're trying to force a moral into that story, but that's not what you do with monsters. You start a bonfire and you destroy that yokai. I mean, after Chucky cuts your cat and offs your aunt, you don't just say, hey, let's let bygones be bygones, and then put Chucky back on your shelf. You rip off that thing's head, melt its computer board, and chop his little body into pieces, burying them in separate locations across the globe. Come on, people, it's like you want to be haunted. Ultimately, though, I cannot fathom what Sanrio was thinking when they made this movie. I assume both feature films of Unico are in line with the manga, and maybe there was some kind of rights issue, and that's why Unico just vanished in the early 80s. But the Unico franchise had this unlimited amount of potential for a cutesy unicorn to go make friends forever. Yes, I wish Sanrio hadn't given us a kids horror movie for the sequel, but I'm even more upset that there was never a trilogy or beyond. And really, even though my review for Unico in the Island of Magic isn't glowing, I guess I do have to give the movie credit for being very creative. And it will definitely stick with me for the rest of my life, but not really in a good way. I truly wish that Sanrio had kept Unico more lighthearted, because I think it could have been a long-running successful franchise, but what do you do with this? You either have to commit to the darkness or do something totally different that people might not like after they like the second one. But can you remember the last time you walked into a store and saw Unico stickers or envelopes or plushies? I can't, and I'm not sure that any of that stuff ever made it into the US. So to the entire Sanrio family, if you should ever hear my ramblings, there will never be a bad time to reboot the Unico franchise. I knew Unico for years before I discovered Hello Kitty, and I miss his cute little face. Bring him back, but, you know, resist any impulses to make an overwhelmingly creepy Unico movie this time. Please and thank you. I might be overthinking it, but that's literally my job. And to any of my members here on YouTube, a huge bottom of my heart thank you for all of your help and support. If you would like to become a paid channel member, there is a link in the description below. Thanks again, guys. Love you. Well, family members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, "Hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that?" Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Family. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Family and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. People who watch to the end of videos, like you, helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, family members. Bye.